All right, Fred. So here we go. Let's do this really basic explanation of things. I think it's very necessary. So I know that you know that music is constructed between half steps and whole steps. So from C to C sharp, you have a half step. From C to D, you have a whole step. C to E flat or D sharp, you're going to have three half steps, which would be the same as a minor third. From C to E, four half steps, and you would have a major third, right? That is important to understand. The two natural half steps that happen in music are between F and E and B and C. Because you can't fit any note in between B and C. There is no B sharp because it would be a C. There's no C flat because it would be a B. And between F and E, the same, you know? Between, well, E and F, not F and E. E and F would be the same. So if you have E, F, E sharp would be the same as an F, and an F flat would be the same as an E. And you also have a half step here, right? So those are your natural half steps. If we construct a scale, all our major scales, minor scales, all the scales in the world have a formula in which they're constructed. And this is the formula. You're going to have whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. That is the formula for your major scales, no matter what note you start with. So to give you, let's use an example. Let's use obviously the simple example that we have of C. So we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. So between C and D, you have a whole step. Between D and E, you have a whole step. Between E and F is the natural half step. So you have this half step. F and G, a whole step. G to A, it's a whole step. A to B, it's a whole step. And B to C, it's a half step, right? This is the natural half steps that happen in music, and they will always be there. And that's where key signatures come in. So I'm gonna erase it, and you can see this here is the same as this here, right? So I'm gonna erase it, and we're gonna base our construction of a scale based on this principle, on this notes that we have here, this sequence. So according to our sequence, the first one, we're gonna do it, let's do it on a key of E flat. Let's make it difficult. E flat major. We're gonna try E flat major. Let's say you don't know that E flat major has three flats. Let's say you just don't know that. But you have this formula of half steps and whole steps. What you do is, the first one says that it has to be a whole step. So E flat, a whole step would be to F. That's our first whole step. The next construction would be, it also requires a whole step. So F to G, and there I have my next whole step. Then we have a half step, G to A flat, because we need a half step, and between G and A, there's a half step. Then we have a whole step again, which is to B flat, right? So between A and B flat, we have a whole step. We need another whole step, B flat to C. That's another whole step. And it requires another whole step right here, C to D, a whole step. And then at the end, we need a half step, which is between D and the octave, E flat. And this is our half step. As you can see, we use this formula and this formula. They're the same thing. And that's how you construct a major scale. This happens always, always. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I think that's the basic principles of whole steps and half steps that you need to understand to construct harmonic structures. Now, let's look at the harmony, what I was explaining to you about harmony today. And let's do a recap. So when you have a chord that says C, it is implying that it has three notes, C, E, G. It has the 1, 3, and the 5. Always. If I have a G, it's going to imply it has a G, B, and a D. 1, 3, 5. If I have F major, an F, it implies that it has an F, A, and a C. So you're going to have the 1, 3, and the 5. If these chords have a minor symbol, like this, in front of them, then it changes the quality of the third. In which case you have the C with the third would be an E flat. On the G, it would be a B flat. On the F, it would be an A flat. That is what you're altering in these chords, right? Okay, so when it comes to thirds, that is what's happening when it comes to minor. But let's do something else. Instead of altering the third, we're going to add a 7, all right? And when we add the 7, if we want to make it major 7, you put a symbol like this or like this that says 7. So I use the delta because it's quicker. 7. And we're going to add the major 7. In the case of the C would be a B. In the case of a G, G, B, D, F sharp because it's a major 7. In the case of the F would be see, E major. So you have F, A, C, E. The sequences of letters on our pages would be very useful if you memorize C, E, G, B, G, B, D, F, F, A, C, E, etc. Okay? Now, you also have in music other aspects that are happening. For an example, let's say we're going to take out the 7 right now. We're going to take out this. Let me make this a little smaller so we can take out more detailed stuff. So we're going to take this. And let's say we want to have it as a 7, like this. 7, 7, 7. That means you need to add the lowered 7 because these chords have become what is called dominant. And that's a different thing. But for now, this 7, it's going to be altered. And that means you're going to have a lowered 7. So your 7 is a B, you have to lower it to B flat. In the case of the G7, your normal 7 would be an F sharp, but you're not going to use an F sharp because you got to lower it, so you're going to have an F. In the case of the F, the 7th would be an E, but you need it lowered, so you're going to have an E flat. Okay? Now, another thing that can happen that you can see is going to be if you have a minor next to this, a minor. So then you have a C minor 7. The minor is affecting the triad. It's only the third. So what you're going to do is you're going to change the E to an E flat because you have a C, E flat, G, B flat. On the G minor 7, you're going to have to alter the third. G, B. It's going to be a B flat, D, F. On the F minor 7, you're going to have F, A flat, C, E. All right? So I hope this helps. Just review this video. If you have any questions, let me know. And we'll go over it next time. Okay? All right. Take care.